can't sleep the best right now. Sometimes be having wild dreams, right? Keep us up. That's the case, so figured sit here, have a little coffee. If there's any of the early morning folks, I know a lot of car guys are like myself. With that being said, my sleep schedule is kind of thrown off, as you can tell, at the timing of my lives. But hoping there's someone I can chat with. Sit here, talk about the S10 2.2 platform, drift setups, whatever. But that's the goal here, is to reach somebody to shoot the shit with and chat about the old S10s. But I'm not gonna be on too long. I know it's like mad early, kind of not the most convenient time. If nobody's on here talking for a while, I'll do my thing for a bit and then maybe hop on live again once I'm like outside my truck, once it's daylight, because it is still dark outside. Sad part of the winter, we just have to try to embrace it in the best way that we can. But I'm not one of those that really lets the weather, the winter, get me down, though. I'm not one of those. It could, partially affect my mood, but I will be working on the videos, folks, as far as, trying to do my lives with a better setting background, like in the truck and at a location with like optimal connection, so it's not like spotty with the quality of the audio or video. So I'm going to be working on that and doing something a little more interesting, maybe a little more pre-planned out, right? So kind of just learning here, just starting, with what I know, what I would be interested in seeing, right? Or just kind of what feels natural, because I'm not going to sit here and throw fake energy your way. I'm not one of those guys. Like, sometimes I fake the funk with like my mood, like anybody does. But I'm not going to be one of those, overly the top, like fake content creators. I'm not going to be one of those. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've been up drinking caffeine for hours, because I haven't even had my first cup of coffee yet. So, which is in the microwave right now. See, stand Courtney, my old lady. I'm not doing my homemade coffee creamer like I normally would. I'm kind of slacking this time, honestly. I'll normally make it myself just to be a little healthier, so you don't have all the gums and all that extra bullshit in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not hard to make it yourself, but I was wanting something just kind of quick, easy, with a little bit of a different flavor, so that's what I did. But let me know what's up with your builds, if you want to see my build. Like I was saying earlier, the connection isn't the best outside, but I can still go out there, show you the build if you haven't been following it. Just let me know, leave some comments, what you're working on. If you'd like to see it, you got any questions. Like I said, it's a daily Drift S10 2.2 liter. But yeah, man, I figured just sit here, and I'm trying to get better about not just doom scrolling, right? Doom scrolling and watching brain dead content. Like, I like to interact with folks and actually, make use of my time in a manner that's valuable. And Drop Lows Motorsports, good morning. Good morning to you. And hey, you hopped on here before I even got my coffee going, so props to that. I appreciate you leaving a comment already. That's not as hot as I want it. We're gonna heat that up a little more. The other night, wasn't last night, the night before, man, I was stressed out, drifting with a vengeance, right? I will put it in those words. And I cooked the back of my truck a little bit on a really tall curb when I was sliding, and it's not terrible, but I'm gonna have to fill you folks in on that. I'm kind of butthurt about it. I love, my clean body lines. Like, where my truck's not beat up, I take pride in it. Kind of sucks throwing another dent in there myself. But that's part of not having just a stance rig where you just, take it to shows and stuff. Like, I actually do daily and slide the shit out of it, so it's just part of it. I'm in the shop, Nog, getting ready for work on mine a little bit now. Nice. What are you about to do on your S10 in the shop? I'm very, very curious. You're the exact person I'm trying to chat with right now, get some motivation, some good vibes in the air, about to wrench on the S10's. Not sure where you're located, if you have a heated shop, kind of can be a little cold and unmotivating to bust some knuckles per se. But hopefully, this video puts you in better spirits than you already were. And not saying that you weren't in good spirits, but you get where I'm coming from. And but yeah, definitely fill me in on what you're about to do. Definitely curious. Wondering if it is fun wrenching, or if it is just maintenance, right? Which I've grown to love to do maintenance, over the years. Honestly, it can be a drag, but I try to look at it with the right mindset, so I enjoy it as much as possible, because it's just like inevitable. Got to get the junkyard head broken down, all studs out, valve seals, etc. Get ready to send that up to the machine shop. Oh, nice. I remember chatting about that with the head, that whole ordeal. Okay, gonna get that broken down, all the studs out, valve seals, get ready to send off to the machine shop. Nice. I'm trying to remember, so I don't recall. I know we were chatting for a bit, but I chat with quite a few folks at this point in time already, and I know it's gonna get way more flooded in the chats. But did you say you were just gonna get that done up to factory specs, or are you gonna get some work done to it, like aftermarket shit, right? Like plus 1mm valves, you're gonna get those thrown in there, or like the 7500 beehive springs with like the machine seat set up. Kind of curious what you're gonna do, because my mind kind of went blank exactly with where you're going with the second head that you're doing. Very curious on that. I'm really wanting to pick up a spare like engine, so I have a whole nother head and everything. I want to kind of just work on my own, do some porting and stuff like that. But just kind of looking into what I can find on the internet as far as aftermarket support that's pre-ported, because there is some companies that claim to have aftermarket, like, I'm not going to say, I think some of them they'll claim to be like a performance head, right? But they don't have any horsepower claims or like claims of what they've done as far as port matching. So, they can't sit there and claim that, it's a performance one. It's just like a remanufactured, like a remand head. So I don't know. Kind of spotty on that, if I want to trust that or take one to a place to get porting done, if I want to do it myself, because I'm good with trade work, metal work, so I can definitely do a burr bit super accurately and do all my lines and stuff like that, with the die and everything. But I don't know, sometimes that shit can be like real time consuming, so I'm kind of up in the air with what I want to do with the head work, right? But I'm thinking I'm going to do a fully built head eventually. But you know how that is with just money, in machine shops. I haven't got anything done at a machine shop since I was messing with the 383 stroker build, which was way too expensive, and I dipped out in the middle of that build. But the prices weren't too terrible, but I'm wanting to say, and I'm thinking about it, I think that was pre-COVID, right? So that's years ago. Hopefully machine shops are still, a decent rate, and where you're at makes a big difference, right? I'm hoping that you are in a cheaper area to where when you have to get that sent off, that the rates are realistic, To be honest, I want to keep it stock. I'm going to do a light port and polish while I got it off. Besides that, I want it so anyone else can replicate the build just as cheap. I like that. Now I recall you saying that you were going to do that exactly. I'm in North Carolina. They're shooting me about $250 to do it all. $250 to do it all. Okay. That's not too bad. So what? They're gonna like hot tank it, or some kind of strip setup, right? And then they're gonna do, what are they gonna do? They just gonna do some compound and like regrind the seats, like lightly grind the valve seats, do all that. Are you getting fresh springs thrown in there, or are you getting some old springs just thrown back in? I'm curious on that. And same with the valves. Are you doing fresh valves? Or are you doing just the old ones with the fresh, light little grind with compound in the seat? Very curious on that. And I think that's a smart way to go about it, as far as being able to replicate the build with something, that's not super hopped up or anything. because you know how it is. It takes a lot of money to get power out of these things, and I think that is a very good mindset and viewpoint and way to go about it, honestly. Because you know how it is. Anytime you're modifying something that's not supposed to be modified to a degree, right? Like these weren't meant to get a lot of horsepower. So you just go, you run into clearance issues and crap that's just like kind of, a headache for no reason. But I'm very excited to hear that you're getting that done. Definitely excited. And I think, and with what you said on the price on 250, honestly, I feel like that's not too bad. Um, because you have to realistically think like how much time is it going to take them to do that, and then whatever lubricants they're using, rather it's cleaning solution, oils for, machining, whatever it is, the wear and tear on their machines, all that stuff. I think that's honestly a fair price. They have to have insurance to run the business, pay employees, all that. But yeah, I think 250 is pretty fair, honestly. I think that's a decent rate. Because you got to compare it to like, having that times two on a V8 or a V6. I think that's a good way to look at it. So definitely hyping you up on that price point. I think that is very respectable of that machine shop. Trying to think of what I want to do on my truck today. I don't have any like huge plans to like get anything crazy done to it. I need to check the weather though to see if it's going to be raining, because like I said, I'm over in Oregon, so it's mad rainy right now this time of year. But I'm gonna still get out there and do it. With whatever I decide to do, right? I'm thinking of maybe getting out there and trying to pull a little bit of that dent out that I put in the back. A little bit on the bed. It's right at the back. I can maybe pull it out. But I really caved in the back part, like by my roll pan, dude, and it just really kills me the way it looks. I'm not gonna be able to pull that out without, spot welding and using a knocker, like really rip the dents out. But I don't even know if I'm gonna do all that, because at this point, I'm just even more dedicated to slide it harder. But let's see, old valves with the reseat. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna measure all the springs and use the 8 that are closest in size between the two heads. Smart. I like that. The bottom end I'm not touching. Okay, that's very respectable. Use a basketball for the dent. I did it on my Ranger. Yeah, I like that basketball method. The little like the pump airbag setup style. I'm gonna look into that. So let's see, back up under that spot. If it's not, I don't think it'll be enclosed with like double walling with the sheet metal. I think I probably could get up under there and put like a basketball or something. I will do that because I do have an onboard air compressor. It's not like hooked up to the truck, but I keep it behind the seat. So I will keep that in mind. I'm not a sports guy, so I have like no kind of like balls that I could air up and use, but I'll definitely do that, or use one of those like pump up bladder bags. That's for like high pressure applications for body panels and stuff. Definitely gonna do that to try to get out some of that dent. I'm not gonna stress it too much on getting it perfect, because the truck's not like super clean. But I just don't want a total clapped out POS, right? I like my S10 to look like somewhat all right. But yeah, man, that kind of hurt my feelings, because I take pride in my driving, right? Like a lot of car folks do. No, I never claim to be like the best driver. I'm not ignorant, right? Very green compared to a lot of folks that are, heavy track time drivers. A lot of folks have been driving since they were kids, right? And that's just not the case for me when it comes to performance driving. But I do take pride in it, and I am all right at sliding. And man, that just hurt my feelings, just getting her too sideways and not enough angle to pull out of it. Oh man, you know how that is though when you're sliding in the wet on on let's just say not a track that you are used to, right? Say it's a turn that you're not used to. Sucks, man, when you're past the angle that you can come back from. Definitely sucks, and then you smack into something. But I will say, at least I didn't hit my wheel and like crack one of my old school aluminum wheels, because those are super rare. That is a positive side, positive viewpoint on it, I feel like. And I honestly thought, as hard as I hit, I thought I caved in like the whole back corner of my truck, so not too mad. I gotta get to work. LOL, I'm gonna chat with you later. Don't let the dent stop you. We'll fix it. Send it even harder. That is right. Hey, thank you for stopping in. Thanks for the like. Thanks for chatting. Good luck with your build. Crank up those tunes, man, and have a great time. Peace, man. All right. Always picking up stuff like, I don't care how early it is in the morning. I have this thing with my brain. It's not always, I'm not like a clean freak or like anything like that. I am a cleaner person for sure, which is, I think, a very good trait to have. But I just have this thing where there's like just stuff left out, I gotta like organize it. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's like any kinds of like bottles or cans sitting out, I gotta throw it away, or like just any little stuff I didn't pick up from the night before when I crashed out too hard, you know? It's weird how my brain's like that. I just feel like the morning's the best time to do it. Strange, super strange. But I think it's honestly probably a really good way to be. I need to keep putting that energy into my car builds, because your boy be procrastinating a lot. I'm bad about that, man. A while back, I briefly talked about it. Like, I lost my drive for working on cars for a bit, and it felt weird as like tried and true car guy. It felt super weird, but I'm getting back into it. Definitely not gonna stop. And it feels better than ever to be back to myself mentally as far as working on cars and wanting to do so. Because there's nothing worse than being a car guy and not feeling like working on your rig like you want to, but you don't. It's the weirdest battle in your head, right? Especially when you have the time and the means to, and then you choose to brain rot and like doom scroll or do nothing. It's okay, to sit there, have something in the background or whatever, or, doom scroll a little bit, then get to your build. But I'll be bad and I'll just like cook the whole day away doom scrolling. I won't even work on my build, and then I justify in my head like, oh, whatever, it was cold today. Like, nah, I can't be doing all that. Builds never get done acting like that, right? That's something that I always try to keep in mind, that go-getter mindset when it comes to working on the builds. Because if you don't have that drive, it's hard to compete with the folks that do. Because that's the thing, the world's so competitive. And not that I'm saying, you got to be competitive with your build, because that takes a lot of the fun out of it for most folks like myself. But, I think, let's see. Okay, just double checking, making sure in the chat that there was no new comments, right? The text is always kind of small. But anyways, I'm not gonna veer off topic too much, but I'm getting this hooked up in the mount, folks. That's why I'm kind of getting all crazy here. So, hooking it up on the little selfie stick tripod mount thing. But anyways, not gonna veer off on that, because that ain't the main topic on this channel, you know what I'm saying? But we are always gonna be real and relatable, because that's what life's about. And we're gonna bring up those topics here and there. We're just not gonna veer off too much all the time and go too long about it. And for anyone watching this now or in the future, like I've said before, I'm gonna always try and put it out there. I welcome anybody that's not even working on S10s, even if you don't plan to get one. If they're not even nostalgic to you or anything like that, you're just interested in drift content. I welcome everyone. I appreciate it. You stopping in on the chat, everything. Rather you're just watching for a minute, you stay for a few minutes, the whole video. I know that's super unlikely, with a live and how long or inconvenient the timing can be of the live, but I appreciate your viewership, your subscriptions, your likes, comments, even dislikes, right? So I am big into constructive criticism, so you even can give me a dislike and a comment of like, you should do better on this, right? I'm all ears for that. My hands aren't too soft, if you get what I'm saying. I think my feelings can handle some constructive criticism if there's something I need to do better. I recognize that, like, you know, my wording and punctuation may not be the best as far as going on, like if I overuse or I say, you know, I overuse certain stuff like that, and I'm gonna work on that and peep my videos, be like, okay, I'm saying this way too much, way too repetitive, that's obnoxious, nobody wants to watch that crap, and I'm gonna work on that, right? So just keep that in mind, folks. I'm not gonna be oblivious to me being green with the videos, and I'm gonna work on the quality, so they're, you know, not boring to watch or terrible to get through if I'm repeating the same word over and over. But we got nobody watching right now, which is solid. It is 6:57, and coffee's starting to hit. As you can tell, eyes are kind of waking up a little bit. You know, I think maybe my voice is kind of opening up a little more too, which is a good thing. I'm not sitting here too like half asleep, right? Because when I started this chat, folks, I was like, just woke up. Not joking, like less than 20 minutes for sure. But I might get out there on the build and show you guys a little bit of what's going on. Maybe the damage of the hard drifting on Friday night. Let me know. Like I said, when I go out there, my internet's not going to reach that far, and so I'm going to be relying on my phone service. The thing is, the phone service here, I live in like a little canyon by like a stream. Not a canyon, I'm sorry, like a miniature valley. It's not very big, but it's enough to just totally screw up the phone service. And then this area alone, like outside of the valley, like a mile each way, is terrible to begin with. So I'm just really just screwed over with the internet service here on my phone. But we'll see how that works out. If I'm gonna go out there, try and do a little bit of a live, see what happens. I would most likely have to go for a cruise into town to get better service, but I'm all down for that, right? So we'll probably go do that. I don't have a whole lot of tire tread, so we'll probably maybe we'll do like a live tire check, kind of see where we're at with that, see how many wires are showing on the passenger side now that I've been driving and drifting it a lot more. See if I can get away with doing any skids on the videos, or if I need to take it easy. If the wires are starting to pop and the bands are starting to come unbuckled, I'm probably gonna have to just sit there and chill and just talk about stuff, right? Which is fine though, because there's gonna be a lot of valuable content in just that itself. But if I think that I can get some, you know, a few fair amount of miles on the tires, we might take it for a rip. But yeah, you guys just let me know. I'm going to probably hop off this chat right now because nobody's watching, which is fine. And then I might come back with the truck in the background and a little bit later in time, and I'm sure that's going to pull some more folks in. So I appreciate y'all hopping in, liking, commenting, and I will catch you in the next one shortly. Peace.